Hey everyone, welcome to this episode of Ruff Talk VR. Today we're talking about Star Wars Pinball VR, which is literally just pinball in VR. Nothing really fancy going on.
Yeah, I mean, full disclaimer, I think I might have talked you into getting this one. And I really wanted it for no other reason than because it was Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, we have to check it out. And it seemed like you had like a man cave situation going on when I looked at the...
Which is, I'll be honest, it is pretty cool.
Yeah, I'd say the man cave aspect of it with the Star Wars decorations that you unfortunately have to unlock. You have to earn most of them.
Well, that makes sense to me. They got to keep you coming back.
Is probably the most redeeming feature of the whole experience, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I agree with that. The man cave's pretty cool. Unfortunately, it's just single player, so you can't like invite your friend over and be like, "Yo, check out my man cave." I think if you could, even if you weren't playing pinball together.
Dude, that one of my biggest hits to the experience is the lack of multiplayer.
Mm-hmm. And I can understand, like, hey, how do you do multiplayer pinball? Well, you don't, but you just have a little hangout and, maybe a couple pinball machines set up.
Stand next to the machine and wait for your buddy to...
Yeah, maybe you can watch the ball go around.
And most pinball games are, you can have two players.
Yeah.
It's like the one guy's ball goes in and then it's your turn.
Mm-hmm.
But then usually, they stand next to you and, like, talk shit. And
yeah. But before we just get carried away going on, what we wish was in the game and everything, again, the game's Star Wars Pinball VR. It's made and published by developers Zen Studios. It's currently $24.99 on the official Oculus Quest store or Metaquest store. It's got a 4.1 overall with ratings, with 743 total ratings and 469 written reviews.
It came out April 29th, 2021.
Yeah, I remember
so it's been around.
I remember when it dropped, and I was on the fence just because I'm like you. If it says Star Wars on it, they could do Star Wars bowling. They could do... Yeah. I mean, realistically, I want a Star Wars open world game that, we can both be Jedi in cooperatively, but that's such a dream. I don't know if that'll ever come. But in this one, it's like I said, just pinball. They have 8 different tables. They have, like, some that are the Mandalorian, some that are Rogue One, but then they also have some of the classics, the original trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
New Hope, Return of the Jedi. So it's pretty cool. You get to pick each different table, and it reminds me a lot of... Do you remember that old pinball game on Windows that would come for free?
You'd brought that up, yeah.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of that, just in terms of the way it all functions. You can digitally tilt the table a little bit.
Yep.
A lot of the functions are the same.
And what's cool is, they do give you the feedback in the controllers, so it adds a little more realism to the experience.
Yeah, and on each table, as you play it, a story is kind of told as well.
If you can really pay attention and follow along as it's going on. I mean, if I'm playing the pinball, it's like I'm hearing all the sounds of the machine, but I'll hear that there's other shit being said, but I'm not really focusing.
Yeah, on these 8 tables, it's not just, bounce things around for a score. There's like... you get it into this slot enough times, now a special event is going to happen.
Yeah, it's like a jacked up... It's definitely not, 1950s pinball here. It's like pretty digitalized, and they walk a fine line between, we'll say, fake pinball and...
Yeah, I like it, though, because I used to like that old Windows game, but... for the most part, it literally is just pinball.
Oh, no, it's legit. It's pinball. And it's, to kind of keep you from getting bored is why they give you the man cave I shouldn't call it a man cave.
They call it, I think, a fan cave.
Yeah, it's a fan cave. You don't have to be a man or it could be a she shed, right?
Yeah. And
she shed or man cave. But, they give you that, and they give you like a little kind of campaign, which does take some heat if you read the ratings to finish. Some people are saying are next to impossible, but I'm kind of questioning that a little.
Well, here's the thing. They're probably talking to get, the full 3-star rating on it. Because some of them might be 5-minute challenge where it's, you try to get as many points as you can in 5 minutes, and you can't, when I was doing that, you can't ball out.
No, and there's levels to how much you have to get to, because you can get up to, like you said, 3 stars.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think there's stars. There's the
3 rating points.
Yeah, that you can spend on.
But when what happens? So, example, you go into your man cave. that's how it kind of starts. You load in, and there's like these pillars everywhere. There's some rug. There's, some other decorative things on the wall. You can change all those, but you go to change them, you're going to have none unlocked. And then you look at how you unlock it. It'll be like, get 20 million points on Return of the Jedi table. And I'll be honest, man, to get 20 million or whatever the score, some of the scores are pretty high.
First challenge, I think I got almost 9 million.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, at a certain point, you don't need to go any higher because you've gotten the barrier for the three tiers. So you could theoretically just do nothing after that because you're not going to get more than that.
Yeah, I found those operations, like the campaign mode, the career mode, that was probably the most replayability to me versus just going in. Because, you can either go to the TV, and at the TV is where you'll find, the different...
It's at least a 70.
Yeah, they call it a career mode on the page description, but it's kind of just like little missions.
Yeah, I wouldn't go as far as to say career.
No.
It's not like you're going to come out of it being a pinball Jedi.
No, but it's cool. Like I said, there's different challenges for each one, and definitely some are harder than others in terms of like, if one's just the typical, you only have 3 balls and try to get the highest score. That's going to be a lot harder than, get the most amount of points you can in 5 minutes.
Unlimited balls.
Yeah, which is how some of them are.
No, I'm pretty. One of the issues I was concerned with was going to be the ball physics, because when I used to play pinball, which was popular in my lifetime, there was little techniques you could use. Like if the ball's rolling down and it's coming to your flippers, you keep your flippers up, and then there's people who are actually like, I know exactly what he's talking about. And you learn where to flip the ball when on the flipper and exactly where it'll go on the... So you can duplicate the same shot over and over.
Which I do a bunch.
Yeah, and you can actually do it in this.
I'll stop. I'll leave the bumper up. I'll catch it. I'll let it roll down until the exact spot I need, and boop, and then just go kind of in a circle.
You can pretty much dictate on the whole table where you're going to place that ball, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, and just like the classic, like I said, that Windows pinball game I keep referencing, I never really used the tilt feature or the shake feature.
No.
I've never been good at that.
Only time I've ever tilted is just to see what it'll let you get away with before it does the full tilt shut off.
Yeah, and it'll do that. You tilt too many times and it'll just lock up. You can't use your bumpers anymore.
No.
And then you just watch that ball just go straight down.
It's funny, though, that they actually had to put a tilt feature in the old pinball machines because people were getting smart and just smacking the hell out of the thing and knocking the ball where they wanted it to. Now, and what's cool is they give you 2 points of view for actually playing pinball. One's like a first person. I can only describe it as you're like in the exit area of where the ball is, like first person view. So you're getting a totally different way of playing pinball, really.
Yeah, and then the other one is the typical bird's eye view. I actually usually just use the bird's eye, the classic view.
I was doing the first person for a while, but then I realized that like the upper flippers and shit, I'm not as good with them in the first person as I am if I'm looking more top down, 3D model of a pinball machine.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, man, the first time we rolled into this, so just like any game, I instantly do the full 360 of the area. I got to scope out my fan cave, I'm like going through all the different table options. I go to the TV, I go through it. I didn't do the campaign, the career mode, whatever missions first. I did just a couple table matches.
One of the tables.
Yeah. Be honest, my first experience, I was a little like, wow, I'm a little underwhelmed. It's literally just pinball. But then I slept on it. I was like, dude, it's Star Wars pinball. It's like, what do you expect? And I was like, all right, let me play this as just a pinball game. It's going to be nothing more, nothing less. And to be honest with you, they did their best for like adding incentive to play more with the decorative items, with the campaign. They did a good job adding different tables. The tables are pretty alive, I'd say. Like, it's not just a boring...
Oh, no, there is. And then there'll be Star Wars characters. Especially if you go to first-person view, it's friggin' awesome because you're miniature. You're the size of a ball at that point. But you'll look over and there'll be, like, Boba Fett walking by your table or looking down on you.
Or Luke Skywalker getting shot at. He's deflecting bullets,
you know? So, they do... And, the price had me, $24.99.
I'm still not a big fan of the price.
I'm thinking... because it's registered trademark Star Wars, that probably $5 of every purchase probably goes right
$15.
Could be. I mean, I was hoping it would have been more of a, at the highest end, 19, really.
Yeah, I
for
think
what you're getting. I'm not gonna lie.
I think $15 would be a very fair cost point for this. I think 25 is a little high for a pinball game, but it's not like they give you one machine. And like you said, to be reasonable, it's definitely the licensing part of it.
Yeah, that's not free at all, and it would be a shame if they were taking a huge chunk. But I mean, that's the result of getting. You want to play something that says Star Wars? Well, get used to it.
Yeah, I think the biggest legitimate complaint I can give about this, because again, they do a great job for a pinball game. It's, like I said, 8 different machines. You get all the characters. The graphics are pretty tight, but not being able to enjoy it with a friend in VR, like missing the social aspect, I think is a big miss.
Gets a little boring.
Yeah, I'd put this on a list of like, look, you got 30 minutes. Like, that's it. You got this little downtime. You just want to do some VR. It's probably a good 30-minute game. I don't think I could spend a whole battery in it at once, but
no. And I mean, because of technology, and I mean, I played pinball a lot when I was a kid, and then all these other cool video games were getting put in. Pac-Man came out and shit, and it's just I'm not an enthusiast. I'd love a real machine in my house. I think that'd be freaking awesome, but am I gonna realistically go and play pinball VR religiously or routinely? Probably not.
No. But
if I were into pinball, my opinion on that might be different. So I mean, when it does come to the score on replayability, it's like I'm going off of me and nobody else. There's pinball enthusiasts who friggin' love pinball. So
and I can't give them enough credit that, like, look, they did their best with. I mean, what else could you add in it besides multiplayer to? They have the decorations. They have, like, short, quick missions.
More tables would be nice. I mean, and don't get me wrong. I was happy to see that. I mean, shit, they're giving you 8, but
yeah, at some point that does run out. You're
open conversation. It's like, all right, game came out April 2021. Are we dropping, 3 or 4 more tables? I mean, what are we doing?
Yeah, it would be cool.
I'm gonna guess no.
It would be cool to see all the movies in there instead of just the original trilogy, which are great. Don't get me wrong, but it would be cool to get episode 1, 2, and 3. We can kind of forget about. I'm not going to petition for all of the last ones in there.
No, and again, one of my favorite qualities of it in the preview and overall is the cave that you can decorate, because they do give you some props from original movies that are already there. Like they got that like game board set up, which you can't play, you can't sit on, but it's there. It's in your room. And you got like a speed cycle or some shit up on the wall. It's a pretty tight looking.
And there's a lot of different decorative spots too.
And they give you a jukebox.
Yeah, that's how. Oh man,
that'll play John Williams music. So,
but you have to unlock the different tracks.
Yeah, you start I think with maybe 2, but then just pick a table and play it, and you'll probably unlock a song. Because I know I've got a handful unlocked.
I think that that's why it's such a miss not having the multiplayer. If you have a friend who has a jacked fan cave, you invite them over and you just got the game.
What if they just had the 8 tables in your cave and your friends could come over and
you each play one?
Yeah, have a table. Other people could be sitting down over at the little bar.
I bet we would spend a lot more time in this game.
Yeah, there was a social basis for this game. I would definitely go back to it more than I will on my own, because other than that, it's like, all right, I'm just playing pinball. And in the big scheme of things, with all the games that exist right now, that's why I said it's probably not going to be my. I can't wait to go play pinball.
But there are some people and they go crazy about pinball. They love pinball. It's kind of it's a niche inside of a niche having it in a VR game.
Yeah, they don't do it badly at all. I mean, you can play it standing, you can play it sitting. I mean,
it's relaxing. I think it's a good end of play session game. Or like I said,
don't know what more you could do for pinball to make it better than what they've done.
That's kind of what I was saying before. It's like really they did their best.
The gauge of like how good is pinball
in VR.
Well, and even in real life.
Well, I like pinball, but again, it's just me personally. Pinball is a 30-minute game to me. It's not like 1, 2, 3, spend your whole day playing or anything like that.
No, there'll be no pinball marathon in my future.
No, but again, I think every time I've ever played pinball in real life, I'm with a friend. I don't think I've ever played pinball by myself.
Just walk into a place alone.
No, it's like something you're with your friends. There's a pinball machine. You're like, shit, I'll play some pinball.
I'm a lonely guy.
Yeah, that's just my opinion. But again, when you look at what they could potentially do, I think the campaign was a little bit of a bonus. I think that's good.
Yeah, see, it's funny because I kept hearing you say, like, you know what, that campaign really drove me more to want to play, because you can earn like force powers and.
Yeah, we didn't really touch on that, but there's two different game modes.
Spend some of your 3 stars on is unlocking force powers for your gameplay to help do the achievements, which can vary and all. And some people are really pissed about some of the difficulties, but like one person was saying, the ball 90% of this is awesome. Ready? The ball, like 90% of the time, just goes straight in between the flippers.
Oh, well, that's part of pinball. You have to work that.
Not 90%, but like, I was scared. Like, I'm like, shit. Is this, dude? My ball rarely goes. I don't think it not once has like gone straight down the middle and not hit my flippers.
I'm always convinced when it does go straight down that there is a way you can still hit it if you time your flippers right.
Yeah, and if you tilt.
Yeah.
Just give it a little nudgeration.
Yeah, because my first couple playthroughs of this, I was having it go down the middle, and then the same thing was happening where it was making that same direction of the shot, but then I was able to keep it in play, and that's because I think it's a skill thing. I think that's just part of pinball.
Yeah, I didn't. So I'm just, if anybody read that complaint, I didn't personally experience, but I actually just enjoy my damn cave and picking a game and playing it more than. Quote unquote campaign, whereas normally I would be all over the campaign. It's like, I'm gonna finish it, I'm gonna do everything there is, and it's like, I don't feel I really need to. I can totally enjoy just playing any of the damn games I want.
Well, I'm gonna be honest too, when I do not the campaign, when you just go to the table, then you pick which one of the 8 tables you want to play, they give you 2 different game modes. They give you arcade mode, which lets you use the force powers, and then they give you classic mode.
Classic, baby.
100% of the time I'm picking classic. I don't really care for the whole force abilities and that kind of stuff. I wasn't interested in that at any point.
No.
I want the classic.
But I can see that they were like, what can we...
Yeah.
We got to give more, because, admittingly themselves, they were probably like...
They did their best with...
How many people are going to keep playing it? That's the... What can you do? Even a leaderboard means nothing,
Yeah, some of those, I think my biggest criticism too would be that as much as they give, well, besides no social, as much as they give a lot of things to unlock and it looks nice, some of the score requirements to unlock them is very demoralizing.
Demoralizing.
Well, because then you're playing, it's like, well, I got, 8 mil, and like that shit's not happening. I'm sorry.
Demoralizing. No, but they gave you a bunch of cool little... Again, the cave thing was where it's at for me. Putting posters and figures and all sorts of Star Wars. I love Star Wars, so.
Yeah, I won't lie. If this wasn't Star Wars based, I would have definitely enjoyed it less. Like,
if it wasn't Star Wars based, I would have never had mentioned you back then and been like, we have to get this.
No, and you can attest to it. Again, my first play session, I wasn't too into it, but after a couple more, you got that message from me where I was like, hey, dude. Yeah, I actually had a good time.
I actually think at that point, like, that's when the scales were turning to, like, wow, I'm like, wow, he's enjoying it more than I am now.
Well, because I always try to review games for what they are, right? It's not fair to compare this to, like, a story-based game. It's a pinball game. That's what it's doing. And so they check the boxes there, and I started to play it as, like, your battery was dying a little bit before mine, and, like we mentioned the other week, you have the Big E going on, so, I can stay up a little bit longer than you. So you'd hop off. I got 30 more minutes before bed. It was a good chill out game.
Yeah, it's. I think one of the issues too is like some games I don't mind feeling like, I don't want to say forced to play, because I know we're going to talk about it, and it's like you really want to get into it. Majority of them I'm pretty much all over. This one had that like almost borderline work feel.
Well, I have a counter to that.
What's that?
I have a big counter to that.
Tell.
If we did this 2 months ago, it would have been no problem. But these last couple weeks, like many good games have dropped.
Nope. And
it's like, so you got Bone Lab in front of you.
If I had played this
and then
when
you
it
have
first
pinball?
came out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's the timing of
I
when
don't
we
think my
decided to review
opinion
it.
would be different though.
No, but I think you would have had to. There'd be less force. It's just like, dude, there's like Walkabout just dropped a new course, then Bone Lab. It's like, dude, do you want to play some pinball or? So that's kind of part. And you're still addicted to Mother Gunship. We haven't gotten over that phase at all.
I almost play that every day.
So it'd be different if
Can't
this was a
help
couple. It's the timing of it as well. Things have been popping in VR recently.
Yeah, no, I get it. It sucks because even when I was going over like how I'm rating it, as much as I think I would think different if it was a year ago, I don't think I would.
Well, I'll say it right now before we get into our scores and stuff like that, which we can take our ad break pretty soon and stuff. I don't think this needs to be one of our 1 hour marathons or anything like that. My score definitely would be better than what it's going to be if it was multiplayer. I can't say that enough. That's the missing element of this game.
That I don't disagree with. I'm just saying if I had played it a year ago.
Yeah, your score would probably be the same.
It'd be the same.
Yeah. I was just speaking more on the, the force yourself into the app aspect.
Yeah, no, if they, little 4VR action or walkabout action, that type of social experience, then yeah.
Yeah, it needs the social. Imagine, that's actually a good example that you mentioned 4VR. Imagine the 4VR games if it was only single player. Like, I'll play those games single player.
They would be half as fun.
Yeah, I do play them single player. I'll go bowling single player. But real enjoyment is the multiplayer.
Correct. Same thing with mini golf. If walkabout was strictly just you or just AI, no, it would be half as fun.
And it's different in VR than in console. And console is one thing, but in VR, social games in VR is just, it's so good. Bocce time,
So what I would do if I were them, like they need to, they've cashed out, I think, is I would have done the multiplayer with up to 4 people in your cave and like 2 machines that you pick as the owner of the cave. Like these will be the only 2 machines I'll let my friends play. And then if someone's playing them, the other person has to come up and put their quarter on the side of the machine, like in the old days of arcades where
to kind of reserve your spot.
You talk about a trust system that, because everybody's always thievery all throughout history, right? People steal. That's what they do. But you could go
in arcades.
Fuck you, man. Yeah, you go in an arcade, you put your quarter down. There'd be a line of quarters. Some people would have like 4 quarters stacked, but nobody ever. Same thing with pool tables. You just put your money on the pool table. Yeah, I got next game, and nobody ever fucked with your money. I don't have one friend or experience I've had of anybody ever walked over and took your quarter. Like, bro, and everyone knows that's the standard rule. And there were like some sleazy people that would go to fucking arcades and stuff, so it was even more amazing.
No, that would be a really cool feature.
Yeah, you put and your buddy knows.
It's your next turn.
Yeah, I got next game, or I'll play winner.
Oh, and then that could even be something that you unlock as your custom chip. So you could have a Darth Vader chip, a Yoda chip.
Then they could have added the Star Wars pool table. Since they already got you in the cave with the arcade, they could have thrown in a Star Wars pool table. Hey,
too funny.
Just telling you what I would do if I had unlimited money.
Yeah.
And the Star Wars trademark that they already let me use.
Well, you know what? If the game's not dead, again, more than anything,
I don't know really what's going on with it, though.
Yeah,
I don't know if there's any real future plans to do anything.
I think more than a pool table or anything, just adding multiplayer would change the game's hype, the game's replayability.
It would increase my replayability because I already know that there would be times I would be like, hey, do you want to,
shit, let's play some pinball.
Exactly.
It is what it is. But all right, so you want to get into our final thoughts and our review?
I'd love to.
All right, so like always, before we do that, let's take a message from our sponsors. The people who, besides the listeners, help keep the show afloat. But I will say, if you don't like ads, we have launched our official Patreon where you can become a supporter of the show. And now we give benefits, unlike the Buy Me a Coffee days.
It's a catch-22 because some of the ads come out pretty funny when we do them. We throw in some funny ones. So
that is true. But our Patreon does have some cool benefits. Like for $5, you can, get an exclusive Discord title and an exclusive Discord chat inside our Discord that's open to the public as well that you can still join. You can get an ad-free podcast. You can get shout-outs on air. You can get shout-out or like a video ticker with your name going across it. We got a lot of different cool stuff.
Good things, yeah.
So definitely, if you hate ads, go check that out. If not, stay tuned. We'll be back in a moment.
This podcast is brought to you by Kiwi Design, the leader in Metaquest and VR accessories. And now you can deck out your device while supporting the podcast. The Metaquest 2 is a great headset, but do you ever feel things could be a bit more comfortable? Well, we have the solution for you. With lens protectors, controller grips, face covers, head straps, link cables, headset stands, and more, including my two personal favorites, the top version controller grips with added weight and an extended handle, and the Kiwi upgraded Elite strap. Let's be real, we've all whacked our controller. Don't be the guy messaging Oculus support for your own mistake or waiting weeks for an out-of-stock controller. Visit the link in our show notes to prepare yourself today. After visiting the link in our show notes, make sure to use the promo code Ruff Talk VR at checkout, all one word, to take full advantage of your savings. And make sure to click the link in our show notes so the podcast gets credit and you help support us. Remember, whatever you need, Kiwi has you covered. Damn, Stratus, have you been working out or is that a new shirt?
Nah, it's just a new shirt.
What is it? Is that your True Classic tee right there?
It is.
Oh my goodness. Check this. At the Ruff Talk VR podcast, we just landed a brand new podcast sponsor.
One that I'm really happy about.
Well, let's be real. It's the case with you. It's the case with me too. Anybody who knows us, we're pretty weird about, shirt material.
Yeah, I don't like certain things on my skin.
No, I'll drive my girlfriend crazy. I'll put on a shirt. I'll sit
Take
there
it
for a
right
second.
off.
I'll be like, nope, need a different one.
Too thick.
Yep.
Too heavy.
Material, fabric, weight, it's all essential for wearing a shirt.
Yep. You're speaking the truth.
And you know what? These shirts came in. True Classic.
Mm-hmm.
They're shirts. They're lightweight.
They form fit really nice.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like not everybody's got the
jackpot.
guns, but you don't need it with these type of shirts. Real form fit. If you're, we'll say, a bigger size gentleman,
Dad body,
either long or just
bod.
bigger. It really doesn't make that hanging feature that you see some shirts put on. It kind of just hangs right over.
The most important thing for me was going to be how it felt on my skin more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
Anything outside of that's an added bonus. So they've hit all the boxes that one would need checkmarked for a good quality T-shirt.
Yeah. So whether you're like us and you're very particular about the type of shirt you're putting on, or you're just having trouble finding a good fit T-shirt, check out True Classic. Where you can use code word Ruff Talk VR, all one word. You can save 25% off your order, and they even do free shipping with orders above $100.
Yeah, that's in today's times. That's worth its weight in gold.
And you might say $100 in shirts. Go
shop.
You know what? They got packs. They do other things besides shirts. They do workout stuff. You say.
Yeah, you can bundle your own little wardrobe accessories there. They got something for everybody. But if they could send out like a little 4-inch swath of their shirts to just millions of people, mm-hmm. I bet you millions of people.
Just sample the fabric.
Because before I even put mine on, I just wanted to feel it, mm-hmm. and I knew before I was even going to put it on, I'm like, this is a good T-shirt.
Yeah,
and it sounds crazy, but they're definite. I'm living proof. I got a whole drawer in my house full of shirts that I will not wear, each for a specific reason.
Yeah, no, True Classic tees is not going to fall into that pile.
Nope, they home runned it. They really did. So, and I'm happy that they did, because otherwise we certainly wouldn't be able to talk about it.
Yep, and I'm glad that now we can share some savings with our podcast listeners. So,
absolutely.
Again, that's 25% off with code Ruff Talk VR, and purchases over 100, free shipping, baby.
Nice. Smooth sack summer is slowly coming to an end, fellas. If you haven't been scaping for the summer sun, it's not too late to sweep your sack of those pesky pubes. As summer comes to an end and we enter fall, keep your boys clean and fresh just in time for Fresh Ball Fall. The leader in below-the-waist grooming is here to make sure your pubes feel smoother than a beach ball and smell fresher than your girl's pumpkin spice. Start the new season the right way and join over 6 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you, 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code RuffTalkVR at manscaped.com. The Manscaped Performance Package 4.0 has everything you need to keep your sweet, sweet sack in check. Inside this package, you'll find their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Reviver, toner, performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag to hold your goodies. Their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. The Lawnmower 4.0 has a 7,000 RPM motor, a new multi-function on-off switch that can engage a travel lock and gives you the ability to turn the 4000K LED spotlight on and off when needed for a more precise shave. Now that your sack is smooth, lather up with Manscaped's liquid formulations to get that fresh ball fall freshness. The Crop Preserver, ball deodorant to stay cool in the heat. Their soothing aloe vera formula is the best in the business for below-the-waist freshness, and the clear-drying formula keeps your sack looking and smelling good. Great goosey moosey! Manscaped even threw in 2 free gifts for their Performance Package 4.0. The Manscaped Boxers and the Shed Travel Bag that'll bring your comfort to another level at home and on the go. Get 20% off plus free shipping with the code Ruff Talk VR at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code Ruff Talk VR at manscaped.com. Keep things smooth and fresh as we say sayonara to smooth ball summer and enter fresh ball fall.
All right, now that we're back from our nice old ad break, or you're listening on the Patreon version and you got no ads, congratulations for you, and thank you for supporting. So, nonetheless, like always, I will say before I pass it over to Stratus to start the rating, because I went first last week, the categories are gameplay, aesthetic, functionality, replayability, and value, and we rate each one 1 to 20 with the final score. The total score of all those categories being our final score. So, you want to take the lead?
Yeah. So I'm admittingly a little sad at my overall score here. But I can't smudge and I can't lie. And
well, I will say that this might be one of the examples that I don't think it's a terrible game. So it depends on how you look at the score. The score might sound lower than the game actually is, if that makes sense. It's not a shit game. I won't say that.
It's going to sound worse than it is.
Yeah, but
that's just because of our category system.
But I will say it's not a terrible game, but I'll let you go.
No. Am I upset that I own it? Nope. Do I have regret for owning it, or like, oh, I wish I didn't, I wish I had gotten a refund? Absolutely not. I'm not going to never play it again type of thing. So.
And you're not rating it as a pinball fanatic. You're a casual pinball player.
And if I was a pinball fanatic, I would have to disclaimer that, look, I don't fucking play I love pinball more than anything.
Your score might be a 95,
It's air and pinball. That's my life.
Might be like, it's a 95, and if they added multiplayer, it'd be 100,
Yeah, it's a 99.9. Give me that multiplayer, and it's 100. Yeah, no. So it's you just have to read between the gray area, I guess. So overall gameplay, I got to give it a 15. It's fun. It's kind of limited fun. But it's definitely, in my opinion, not a 20 as far as gameplay goes.
I'm sorry, I was just showing my score on camera real quick in case it's the exact same as yours. I want proof. I didn't just copy yours as you said it.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm anxious to I wish I could have seen what you thrown up there. So again, it's, I don't believe it's 20 worthy, but gameplay 15 is fair. Aesthetics, I give it a 15. They really save grace with the room that you can decorate. Having access to John Williams music that you can unlock is probably one of the bigger moments of the overall experience. And I like that they kind of stay true to form with legit Star Wars. They didn't take any liberties outside of, well, they probably can't legally. But aesthetics of 15. Again, nothing great, but nothing really terribly bad. Same with the graphics. In some areas, the graphics actually look amazing. And then maybe right next to the same area, they don't look amazing. So 15. Functionality, I can't give it a 20. There's some jank with the movement. That's probably my biggest functionality issue I have with it is sometimes you move around, you might not be facing the direction you should be, especially when going to your TV, so you can do some of the quasi campaign modes. So 15 on functionality. Replayability, I give it a 10 only because I'm not foaming at the teeth to come home from work and play pinball. I'll continue to play it now and then, so it's not a dead game to me. And where that would go to a 20 would be if they added multiplayer, because then I'd have this whole new, because this whole social experience thing that I can go in there and start talking crap, and we can play with friends and shit like that. And then value for money, I give them a 15. It's not the worst. I definitely can't give them a 20. I think $24.99 for what they've given you is just not worth $24.99. So a 15, and then an overall of a 70.
Well, so at least, we're going to have a similar final score, but our individual categories are different.
Okay.
So that's good, at least. So I actually don't disagree with anything you said. Again, mine's going to be a little variant, but I can definitely see how you got those scores. So gameplay we're actually going to agree on. I'm going to give it a 15. I think I could see somebody making the argument of, hey, it's pinball, so in terms of pinball, what are they missing? And I'll say the social aspect. I think that not having anybody in there or anything like that, that's also going to affect the replayability, but I do think that affects the gameplay element of it. There's no real point in me pimping out my man cave to show myself, my fan cave. So aesthetics, I'll give them a 15. The music almost gives them some serious brownie points up to a 20, because the music is pretty friggin' sweet. But I agree with exactly what you said. There's some spots that look really tight, and there's some spots that just don't. I'll be honest with you. I found the graphics underwhelming in the first-person VR, like the table view. I felt like the graphics took a big hit, and I don't know. They did a good job though in terms of the way the cave looks. The music is probably the most complimentary spot to me. Having the 3D characters on the side of your table in combat and stuff like that, that's pretty cool, but just feels like something's missing there. So I'll give 15 on aesthetics. Functionality, I get what you mean with there being some jank. I ended up giving them a 20 because I never had any pinball issues. The only functionality things I'll give them some crap on is the movement could be better, and they made the menu toggling weird, where so a menu pops up to scroll, right? I would think that I can go through it by using my analog stick. That's just what my monkey brain thinks, right? It makes sense. Unfortunately, you have to kind of point at the edge of the menu for it to move, and that's absolutely dumb. I'm sorry, just to say it nicely, that is so. I don't know if they had anybody even test that, but that is the dumbest form of menu scrolling I've ever seen in VR. So I was tempted to hit them with a 15 there, but I ended up giving them a 20 just because, again, the core game itself functions really well. Again, I think the movement could maybe be a little bit better. And who the hell designed those menus? I don't know, but that's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. I've never even seen a developer attempt that. That was weird. But nonetheless, so functionality 20. Replayability, I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to give them a 10. It'd probably be a 15. I don't think it could be a 20, but I think it'd be a 15. If I could have a buddy in there, if we could be in there together playing it. If I was a pinball fanatic, it would probably be a 20. But for me, personally, it's a 10. I'm probably not going to spend a bunch of time going into this game repeatedly. And value, I'm actually going to give them a 10 as well. I know you gave them a little bit higher. I'll say that this is probably a good game to get on sale. I mean, I understand why it costs 25, like we said in the beginning with the licensing, but 25 is one of the more expensive games on the official Quest store, and I don't know if pinball justifies that. I think if you have an Oculus 30% off coupon or you catch it on sale, you get it for around 15. They have that new referral program where you can get 25% off. It might be a better deal, but I ended up going 10 on value. And, that category would probably go up too if they had multiplayer. So 15, 15, 20, 10, 10. I'm going to go with 70 as well.
I think it's fair.
Yeah. Again, I don't think it's the
best. But if you're a Star Wars fan, I'd fucking buy it.
Yeah. And again, so
I wanted it.
There's two niches of people who are going to be swayed into this game. That's why they're smart for doing this.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a pinball fanatic, you're going to buy it. And if you're Star Wars fanatics like us, you're going to buy it.
Yeah.
I didn't take any convincing to buy it. You're like, hey, you want to buy pinball? I went, yeah.
I've watched a shitty Star Wars movie in my life.
Mm-hmm.
I paid to watch it, so
I enjoy Lego Star Wars. I enjoy pretty much everything Star Wars. But
I do want some more stuff for my cave though.
Yeah. I wanna have a buddy in my cave too. It'd be cool. Like I
agree
with you.
Up to 4 people. What's the point of pimping it out if nobody can see it?
I don't have the incentive, and I agree. 4 people would be so cool in there.
You don't need 8. You don't need 16, but 4 is enough.
Just a little public. Oh man, that's so cool. Like, hey, come over.
People can go. Oh shit, I didn't unlock that yet. How'd you do that?
If anything, it could be a game to go into with a group while you decide what game to play. Like you all just kind of meet in there, play a little pinball for 10 minutes.
That's kind of how I would use it with you.
Yeah, just like let's meet up.
If we had some shit to talk about, we do it over pinball.
Waiting for another game to install.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we'll be in that like, oh man, damn, I thought I installed the game. All right, boom, we could start the install, go into pinball because it's not like, sometimes you're installing a game and it'll get a little choppy into the game that you are playing. Who cares? It's pinball. It's not like Pop 1. Pop 1, you'll get killed with that kind of behavior.
Yeah, that's happened.
Same with Mother Gunship. It's like pinball, it'd be cool. It's a good intermediary game to meet up with your friends.
At this point, I'm going to just have to assume it's a dead project, but
probably.
I really don't know. Even myself, I pipe dream, if I were them, I would this and that. But then, in real reality, what more can they really do? They've given the campaign, they've given special power plays that you can use that, if you want to go with like some more of the arcade, not classic, you can use special power-ups.
But again, we're both classic boys.
For this,
I just want to play pinball.
I'm usually all over shit you can unlock, but the unlocks to me are like the posters and the figures and I want the most Star Wars'd out room I can. Be one expensive ass room, dude.
Oh yeah.
Even the game table thing is just ridiculous. I was so hoping that it was playable. I'm like, I've never played it. I don't even know how to play it. I don't think anybody does. Little hologram table thing.
It'd be cool though. No, I always appreciate when there's like, Resolution Games is good at that with like their Heroes Hangouts and their type of things, having little arcade games and that kind of stuff.
You can go and paint and paint figures.
And it doesn't sound like much, but that stuff adds to your, it adds to the time you spend into the game.
Dude, we've gone in and just painted figures. We didn't even play the game. Didn't play the game at all.
No, close the app after we were done painting.
Yeah, let's just go paint.
So
but it's an area that you can go to and do some shit and have fun, but get other work done that you might need to be talking about. Or
social VR is the best. When these apps have that social element, it's awesome. And this game is just, it feels like it's missing it, and it's sad.
Cool if you could import your avatar, but he could wear Star Wars clothes and shit.
Right?
Have like an Obi-Wan robot. Or
this would be the perfect meta avatar game.
I should mention, I feel bad for not mentioning it. It really doesn't matter, but you can choose the dark side or the light side in this game.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a deal killer either way that if we didn't mention it.
No, but thank you for throwing that in at the very end.
There are people who, like myself, will go, fuck, I'm going the dark side. Of course. It's not even an option. Darth Vader's the shit. Why would I not want to be Darth Vader? I'm one of those guys. Still upset at Luke.
Too funny.
Really, man. Not to go on that tangent, but that's an age-old argument. Like, should he have worked for his dad or not? It's like, fuck yeah, he should have. He's Darth Vader, bro. He can rule the whole galaxy, and he says no. You want to talk about a frosty human being?
Well, what's terrible is they did it real injustice in the final 3 movie. In the final 3, man, they made that story. They killed it. I'm sorry to fucking Disney. I was so open-minded too. Ugh.
No, the movies took a turn in the point of the history, but I'm old school, so give me those 3 originals from the 70s.
See, and I'll 80s. Disagree with you on the siding with his father thing. I think I'm happy with that ending, but then they destroyed it in the last 3, in these final 3.
Shame on you. Should have gone with your dad. Dude, see, who had the cooler clothes and costumes too, man?
I'll give you that. Darth. I won't lie. When these games usually give you the option of the light side path and the dark side path, I usually go first playthrough. I go light side. I go as goody two shoe as possible, and then my next one is as heinous as possible. Like I've talked about before. Knights of the Old Republic, my all-time favorite game. What they did great in that is like some of the dark side stuff. It's so like comically dark side. It's just like cruel. And like it's just you almost feel bad doing it, you know.
No, I'll always go with the dark side choice in Star Wars.
Yeah, it's a good discussion. We should do maybe if we ever don't have a game to review or something like that, we just do a Star Wars discussion.
You know, I'll put that up there. Maybe they'll like talking politics and religion. You're gonna really offend somebody.
That's true.
No
People get pretty passionate about Star Wars.
Oh yeah, even just that minor conversation. I'm sure fist fights could erupt over. Yes, he should. No, he shouldn't have. Yes, he should. No, he shouldn't.
Darth Vader's a fascist.
Right.
All right, you ready? You want to wrap this baby up?
Yeah.
Before we start pissing people off.
And don't let my score dismay.
No, it's a better game than a 70.
If you're on the fence, I would do it, just because then you'd be like, well, at least I own it.
Yeah, it's Star Wars. It's pinball. The game's better than a 70, but that's the way the cookie crumbles. That's kind of how our score goes.
Just being honest.
Yeah. So, nonetheless, if you enjoyed this episode, like I said, subscribe, rate us 5 stars. Go check out our official Discord server, our Reddit server. You can find all that stuff in the show notes, the episode description of the podcast. And if you are ever so inclined to be ever so nice, you can even go join our Patreon server. Sweet. All right. So check you all out next week.
Take care.